think of monetary gain, the thing that I get really excited about is mainly to facilitate experiences with others. I saw this post on Instagram, and it was this guy who had this full kitchen that he had spent 3 years creating, and it was just beautiful, rustic, lavish, huge, simple yet beautiful, all these things. And I saw that and I thought, if my wife had access to that, we would have way more people over than we do. And I love having people over. I love people coming over and we're just talking, and it's like good fellowship, good discussion. And in our current environment, it is so hard to facilitate that. Not just because we have children, but because we live in a very small space. A really small space. And so, just thinking that if I work hard enough, I can do the thing that I really enjoy. If I could string together as many days in a row that are enjoyable, which basically to me looks like, did I exercise? Did I work as hard as I possibly could? Did I spend time with my family? Did I socialize? If I can do that as many times as possible, that is an absolute win. That's a dream. And if I can do that over and over and over again and optimize it, I would just thoroughly enjoy that. But right now it's not like that at all. Right now I barely get to do any of the work that I want to do. I have to split my time between work I care about and work that I have to do to survive. And then that's also split between I have no time. I guess the season I'm in, I don't really have time to spend socializing. But even if I wanted to, I couldn't afford to have people over in the way that I would like to. I could have people over and serve them tater tots. But I would rather wait and eat better quality meals, just enough that I can afford for the family. But so it's like that doesn't count. We don't have enough money to have the level of foods that we're always wanting to have. I'm kind of just rambling, but the point is that I haven't hit the marks that I want to hit on a lot of levels for the things that I would love to do for the rest of my life. Like right now, if I was to exercise, in a way that I would want to, I would be directly taking away from a higher priority level thing, which is I'm either spending time with my family or I'm working on something that will drastically change the outcome of my life. And if I exercise, it directly takes away from that. So I guess the leverage of money would help substantially, because I would be able to have all the food that I would ever want, highest quality. My wife would have access to all of it. We'd have a place that would facilitate it ad infinitum. We would have a system going, pantries, we'd have new options, we'd discover new things. We would it would be streamlined to where it's just so easy to have people over. Because it's like, yeah, we have the ingredients, throw it in, we know that this works well. There's so many sliding variables that just drastically improve. And it reminds me of this quote, money solves money problems. So the stuff that's outside of money still remains as problems. If your marriage isn't working, and it's not really finance-based, but a lot of them are, by the way. But if it's not, then you solve that by having money. I know that having money would mean that I would increase the amount of time I'd be able to spend with my wife. Because then food would be less difficult, or I could retire her mother who would be able to help, so she'd be able to do the things she needed to do so that we'd be able to like streamline and eat food rather than like staying up till like 9 p.m. just finishing the dishes and then having to like immediately go to sleep because everything takes so long to do. Or our kitchen is very small, and so we like to make a meal that's remotely complex requires way more effort than if there was just a bunch of space and there's no dishwasher, so like, you know, that kind of stuff. So the money problems directly, like the leverage of money would just so drastically alter my life because it would directly filter into these things I care about, because I'd be able to maximize time. I guess money equals time, and I would just have more time, and I would be able to increase the quality of that time. That's what it would do. As I'm saying it out loud, I think that's exactly what it is. Money would equal higher quality life of time and additional time back. But then as a consequence of that, I would be able to, the higher quality of time would be, I'm doing the work that I love. So I guess that's increase in quality of time. And that's something worth striving for. That is absolutely something worth striving for. Yeah. It'll be weird. I feel like I've been doing this my whole life. This sort of kicking against the goads, never having breakthroughs. And to one day have that would just be like, wow, we did it. It would be surreal for sure, but everyone gets used to it, so I guess it doesn't matter. Like, if I would eventually get used to it, which is another thing I hate, but that's just the way it works. I guess that's the human condition, unless you artificially deprive yourself. Which was interesting. I was having a discussion with this guy yesterday, and he like consults some of the companies and like to help them scale. And we were talking about how do we tell the pig-headed CEOs of the companies, like, you need to do this, and it's really important that you do this. And we were talking about artificially depriving in order to create a result. So like there was a writer, Chris Williamson talked about it in his podcast with Alex Hormozy, the third one I think it was, or the second one, where the writer would force himself to write by locking himself in a room, sliding the key under the door for his servant, and then said, do not let me out of this room until I submit under the door 10 pages. And he would turn the heat off, and so all of a sudden the room would start getting cold and he would start freezing. And it was like, he would knock on the door, he's like, okay, I can't, I've got it, I can't do it. And the servant promised that he would not open the door. So he would have to write these 10 pages. Now, he was so wealthy that he had a servant, and yet he created this deprivation, this artificial deprivation, to create the result that he needed. And so are there ways that we can do that even when we're fat and sassy, so to speak? And I don't know, maybe that's a waste. It's a waste of time to think about it, but it's interesting. Think about it now because I am deprived. Well, I say I am deprived. I have all my needs met. So actually I'm not deprived. But do I want more? Yes. So do I feel like I'm deprived? Yes. Is that me artificially inflating could I be content in this stage? Yes. Yes, I could. But do I want to? No. Which brings up another interesting thought, is like, I am definitely not playing an infinite game. I'm not doing this for the sake of doing this as yet. And that's okay. It just means that my why might not be strong enough to bear the how of scaling to 100 million. If that ever happens in my lifetime. But if that ever happened, I might stop and be like, 2 million is fine. I don't need to go any further. And maybe I make less of an impact, and because of that, that because I'm like, my family has been met, the needs have been met, I'm helping in my local community. That's all I need. Anyways, I'm just rambling at this point. So yeah, here's to the hard work for the rest of our lives.